quoting accurately and...
Well, you know what? I think it'll be easier if we prioritize one standard. We can't come. It's going to be too much if we come at it with two standards. So, which one do you think is the higher priority for them to do well on the end unit?
Quoting accurately.
So let's focus on that. So yay, we came to the same exact conclusion.
Yep.
We didn't even need to go through this.
They need to get...
Sirs, we're not talking. All right, so quoting accurately. Let's go through and let's find the questions that are quote accurately.
Mm-hmm.
You need evidence here, right?
So I would say yes, but since it doesn't explicitly say for like textual evidence to quote, they're just asking for them to summarize, and they were just supposed to hit on the 3 big points.
Okay, so
like the exemplar didn't ask them for like very big specifics.
let me just make sure it wasn't graded on a 2-point rubric though, because the 2-point rubric is asking for evidence.
It was. Is it the big characters, chronological, and the big events? And if they were accurately giving those big events.
See, because it says number 1, 2-point summary rubric. Do you have the 2-point summary rubric?
I do.
You're excused.
This is a dumb way to go about Here it is.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't need evidence. Okay, so that doesn't apply. All right.
Like this one is evidence.
Number 3.
Evidence.
Number 3. Okay.
And then I would say, how was this last one?
This is on a 2-point rubric. Which one? Number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then how was number 8? Graded. Okay, so yeah. This one doesn't have evidence either.
Okay. All of these, they were supposed to use evidence, so.
These were just, I thought these were just 1 point.
These were just 1 point.
Yeah.
You're right, I remember. Okay. So evidence showed up mainly here and here. So 3 and 4. So. Let's now look at the exemplars. How should they have done this?
So I would say, from what I remember, those that completed this and accurately told me what the responses were, like, had the evidence from the text. It was either that their misconception with this one wasn't evidence, it was they picked like a challenge they picked a challenge not from this section. So they weren't following directions. And that's why people did poorly. Like, they wrote, like, Mama's dying, and that wasn't part of that section. This one, they really struggled with evidence, supporting their inferences with evidence. And this is going to be big because the whole end of unit is how has Esperanza changed. So you have to make inferences about her personality at the beginning and the end.
Okay, good. So what's the problem what's the problem? What are they not doing?
They're not backing up their inferences with specific evidence. They're like saying she's spoiled. Well, how do you know she's spoiled? She's spoiled. They're not coming full circle.
What do you think the gap in your teaching is?
I don't think I've been as much of a stickler for evidence as I should be.
Why do you think they're doing well? Let's back up. Why are they doing well with the analysis?
Because I think that's what I'm pushing. I'm pushing. Because I think last year they struggled so much with analysis that I was still in that mindset of like, oh, they're going to struggle doing that higher level thinking because these are difficult questions. But they're there with that higher level thinking, like, as you saw yesterday. They're there with the higher level thinking. They just can't tell me why as much, like when the text is telling them that and picking the best evidence. They want to give me the most random pieces of evidence.
So what do you think needs to be done then?
I think
let's look at the, well, we've graded, so we have the student responses in our mind.
Yeah.
Do you need to relook at the student responses, or do you feel like you have a good understanding?
I have a good understanding, and especially because we did a whole other lesson based on inferences, so like I'm thinking back to their stuff as well, and what they were doing then. I think picking the best evidence versus any old evidence is something really that they're really challenging, and then how to fit evidence into their writing they're struggling with as well, because they're often saying evidence but not fitting it into their writing.
Why do you say best evidence? Did they have evidence in the first place that's just not the best?
So when
Give me 1 second. Simeon, go sit across the hall.
Almost.
Simeon, go sit across the hall. Don't come back out.
Sit one question.
In Miss Williams' office.
I don't know. She not gonna do it.
Hold on 1 second. Miss. Okay, so I heard you saying they're not picking the best evidence. I'm wondering, are they picking evidence at all right now?
naturally or when prompted.
Are they currently in the habit of, when I make an assertion, I back it up with evidence no matter what?
No. And then when they're prompted, they don't pick the best evidence.
I'm wondering if we don't even just like start.
We start getting the evidence in there. Okay. Can't just
Because
like, let's do it the best way from the beginning.
well, best doesn't become very important until 8th grade. Actually.
Oh, okay.
The right evidence is
Evidence that
important.
makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
But best doesn't. It's not. That's an 8th grade standard.
Okay.
So let's just get them in the habit of just having evidence all the time.
Okay.
Just like that is Miss Reardon's like thing. Like, don't try to make an assertion in my class without evidence.
Okay. So I think some small changes that I can do is because currently text-dependent questions are asking for evidence, but not those like entrance questions. Like having entrance questions, even though they're just comprehension, just like write how you know that,
And
like retell then write how you know it.
and how could that match with your whole like we're gonna have packets and scaffolding and stuff like that? Let me just be more direct. Maybe you can have like
a spot like say like
E.
yeah
that.
evidence, yeah. So in how do I want to? Sorry, this is such a personal problem.
And what you really want to do, remember when we were looking over the summer when Creasy was like, it's the jumping off the block?
Mm-hmm.
What we tend to do is give kids things like, you don't have evidence, and you don't transition into evidence well, and you don't support it with analysis, and
Yeah.
Let's just focus on them getting in the habit of getting evidence to support their questions, and then we'll worry about, are you setting it up? Because I even fell into that trap when I was teaching. I was like, and you guys don't have transition words, and they were like, like one thing at a time.
Okay, so only evidence. So could I subliminally do the choice words by writing, like, have their sentence starter be, for example, in the text
Yes.
says.
And
Okay.
then, like, wean them off of that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a great idea. Just put the sentence starter there.
Okay. Okay. So sentence. So something I struggled with today for giving them sentence starters and things like, because I think I did get a little overwhelmed because I was giving them like so many different pieces, like making back the question and transitions and this and this and this. They're starting to make opinions. It's like, would Miguel agree with this, or would Esperanza agree with this? How do I? This is really logistic. But how do I seamlessly, like on a piece of paper, give them that sentence starter so they know what they're working on without making the opinion for them? Because like obviously there's a right opinion to have, but I want them to come to that conclusion on their own.
I believe. Maybe?
And that's not mimicking back the question, which. Or can I just not give them?
We have two options.
Okay.
Isn't it yes or like either or?
And then have them just like circle
Circle the one
or
that
star or
applies to
something.
them.
Okay. Okay.
So I think rather than taking a day and reteaching, I think it's more.
Constantly infusing it. Yeah.
It's just like an expectation that you have when paired with aggressive monitoring and like you looking for it.
Because like even today when I was doing it, like writing E's or whatever on their papers, not paychecks, it was like improving already,
Good.
which was great. They're like,
Yay.
I was like, yeah, and then they went, please look at it again.
Really?
Cross out the E. I was like, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have the key up and everything. Oh, I wish I could have seen it.
Yeah. It was nice, and like we like went over the key together as well, which is good. Like I made like a checklist on the board. There's a checklist in their packet, all the things. It was like,
Sweet. That's
kind of
awesome.
together.
I think that'll have a major impact on the data.
I hope so. I had one question about. Oh, do you want me to help them? Because I know focusing on one thing at a time, but like 4 things that are text-dependent questions. So I was talking to Emma from Northeast. She said that she has them like structure their paragraphs in a certain way. Am I just doing that by giving them the sentence starters? Am I explaining the reasoning behind that?
Tell me more about how she's structuring it.
Cause like she was like she had it's like kind of like we were talking about when we did our own norming of language, but like, claim, evidence, explanation, claim, like that. Do I want to be actively teaching that, or just have it like written in the margins so they're seeing it, or not touch it at all and just get them working on this evidence bit, and then tackle that before the essay they have to write at the end of the unit?
I think they're kind of two in the same, right? Like one in the same because we're pushing this evidence piece. I think there's nothing wrong with like labeling. I saw dramatic increases in student writing, even without the scaffold, when I like had on the side of the paper like here's your like just even the word claim and then the word like by now you should be writing evidence. By now,
Okay.
it helps them not ramble and just like set up. I think it's a good idea.
Okay. And but I shouldn't have. Should I somewhere in the packet paper? Should I have it like your claim is this, your analysis of evidence is this?
No, they need to just start getting fluid with that.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I would have an anchor chart.
Yeah. But not him. That's a
That's
handle
too
I have to
much.
do. Okay.
They need
So-
to just start remembering what claim is. So your focus for the next week, 2 weeks, is aggressive monitoring and what?
Evidence.
Evidence. While still pushing analysis, because remember they were at 53%, so it's
Yeah.
not like done. But it seems like that might,
I'm getting my bag.
if they didn't finish.
Yeah. Like if you let's look at question like, just to not make an excuse. I'm gonna make an excuse. Like 95% of them got a 0 on question 8, which like question 8 was really hard because it's all about author why they did it, but